And welcome to Citizen Poets on SF Live. I'm the host, J. Everett Winburn, and with me tonight we have a special poet from Oakland who is author of this very book. His name is Andrew Demcak. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us on Citizen Poets.
Thank you for having me. It's
And
very exciting.
hopefully it will be.
Yes. It'll be on after the election.
Ah, wow. Yeah, it's I think people will have a lot more to say after the election.
I
But
think so.
thank God that your work avoids politics in its in its more rougher form and gets down to the importance of culture.
Yes, I do have a lot of cultural references, like to Paris Hilton, which is very important. One of my friends was telling me that I violate most of the rules of being a writer, and that is I write about stuff that's sort of ephemeral and pop, and in 20 years no one's going to have any idea what that is. So I'm just creating the footnotes of the future. I just want to let those people know that.
Wow. I wanted to give people in the audience an idea of who you are, what kind of poet you are, as far as what you do with your work and your influences. Could you give a little bio on yourself?
Sure. I think that my biggest influences probably are Anne Sexton and Wallace Stevens, which sounds like a strange combo, but I love Wallace Stevens. Technically his poems are just brilliant, and Anne Sexton, I love what she does with language. And I'm a poet that kind of goes in all directions, and I'm sort of fearless. There's not too much that I won't write about, so I'm a pretty fearless guy.
Mm. What are some of your favorite topics to cover? And another question that's very much related and relevant is the process that you use to explore these topics.
Yes. Well, in this particular book, the one that you were showing is Catching Tigers in Red Weather, and that book is actually all cut-ups. So those were created by literally taking pre-existing texts and cutting them into little fragments, sticking them in a bag, pulling them out, and seeing if the words that are on those fragments inspire me to write a line. And sometimes the words are kind of pushing me in the direction of a particular subject that the words might be about, and sometimes I see my own stories emerging and I start writing and editing according to that. And so you never know what it's going to end up being. It could be about the Chinese Cultural Revolution, it could be about a dead gallery assistant. You never know. It's a mixed bag. It's chaos out there.
And would you like to share one of your poems with the audience?
Absolutely. I actually have a couple I'd like, if that's not a problem. They're all very short.
Oh.
This one is actually from Catching Tigers in Red Weather. This one's called Young Man with iPod, and this one is kind of a, it's a very Oakland poem. Young Man with iPod. A wild fledgling, winging his way from the suburbs' premeditated heights. This youth in baggy shorts, belonging to his stepdad, weaving along the crosswalk. No less a sparrow as he sails robin red before his peers, head tilted, cocky. His lurid t-shirt clashing back against the Broadway traffic in this city of unnamed birds. He is 15, I think, warbling today's scissored hip-hop. His bravado like a feather color. Even coming fatherhood can't cage him.
Mm.
I really like that one. I think that's kind of an interesting shot of, what it's like to be a kid when you may not have a father, when, you're kind of a street kid and you're kind of wandering around.
Wow.
I wanted to read this other one. This one's sort of like if there's a hit single from this collection, this is the hit single. This is the one that's been anthologized a lot, and it's been in a lot of places and magazines, and it's actually one of the ones that's taught at Ohio State, which is very
Wow.
interesting. Yes, my poetry is taught at Ohio State. I was surprised.
It's a great honor.
Yeah, somebody found a syllabus online and they sent it to me, and I'm taught on the same day that John Berryman, his dream songs, and Edgar Allan Poe's Dream Within a Dream are taught. It's in this class that's called The Genius and the Madman. I don't know which I represent, but anyway, this poem is called Handhold for a Zygote, and this is kind of like what I would say to, you know, the unborn. But I always thought Handhold for a Zygote sounded like a Radiohead song, so it kind of makes me laugh. Anyway, this is called Handhold for a Zygote. Welcome. You'll be good. A jaw infused with appointed energy, and the brain the diameter of a crown. You will not have paradise, not yet, right angles and the endless repairs of et ceteras. The world will be a lover's apple to fuss about. Your heart an adding machine with zero to solve. What it is to be made of feelings. Somewhere ceiling tiles fall out and break. See how it will happen. You'll lose your lovely coloring, and your tiny spine will have to bend, bend, and bend.
Mm. Wow. And what was the inspiration that prompted this
That
poem?
one actually wrote itself. I wasn't sure. That one came directly out of the language. I have no idea what the poem was that I cut up, but you know it. And one of the things that's funny too is that people are like, "Oh, isn't that plagiarism? You're using someone's poem." But you'd be so surprised. Very, very little of the original poem is left. When I cut it up, it's so taken out of its original context. It's just words. It's basically freeing them up from whatever it was that the poem was, and I'm just sort of, well, I'm mutating the original. So I'm kind of like a I don't know. I'm like it's like a Frankenstein piece. I'm taking these, cut them up into dead pieces, and then I reanimate them. And so, you know, it's kind of a modern Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's a good process. I've
Yeah.
experimented with it before, and I think there was that film, wasn't it Finding Forrester, with Sean Connery, and he was tutoring a young kid on how to use other people's work as a prompt for your own, just to get you started.
That's a good. It's interesting because I had a professor once who talked about the diving board, and he never wanted diving boards in his poem. And I thought, well, you mean the word diving board? And he says, no, no, no. The diving board is the thing you're on before you get into the pool, because your poem should be in the pool. You don't want the diving board. So whatever you have to do to set up, you have to take that out. That has to go. And so I was like, oh, okay, so no more diving boards. So I have diving board-free poetry. And actually, people have described my poems as being middles of poems, or middles and endings, because they sort of jump right into the middle of something. And you either are with me or you're not.
And that takes a lot of expertise on your part, because you want that to be very essential to, very central
it
to
takes a lot of editing.
the theme.
Yeah, it takes a lot of editing and a lot of boiling down, and I'm one of those people who does not like to use the same word twice in a poem. I will not do that. And
Wow.
One of the comments that the woman who chose this this book, Catching Tigers in Red Weather, which won the Three Candles Press Open Book Award, in one of her remarks about why she chose this piece to win, she thought that because of my command of language that I was the spiritual heir of Emily Dickinson. And I thought that was the strangest comment I could possibly have imagined. I mean, I am not a spinster aunt. I do not go to taffy pulls. You know, it's like I'm just not that person. But anyway, I like Emily Dickinson, so I took it as a compliment.
Yeah, you got to take whatever compliments are available.
That's right. Whatever they throw at you. So, you know, it was a little interesting.
Yeah.
But
So, yeah, could you tell me about the poetry scene or circles that you're part of, and what they're like?